Top of the day, beautiful ladies. Top of the day. Okay. All right. I got. Wait. Yep. Okay. YouTube live now. Top of the day, Betswabu, Great Rising, Shayla. Yes, Yibo Sawu, Bona, yeah. All right, y'all. Today is an exciting day. Guess what? Moses heading into, well, in the Legends of the Jews. I know we passed that part in the Bible, but Moses had to go see Pharaoh today. Okay, beautiful people. Let's see here. All right, beautiful people. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started today, y'all. I sent a couple y'all some text this morning. It's a portion of, remember I was telling y'all about the Book of Remembrance. It's and he is fighting against his calling. Yes, he is. But it's a portion of the Book of the Remembrance that I was telling you guys about, right? It's broken up into volumes. But I found the portion that I text you guys. Shayla, I didn't send it to you. I'll send it to you. But I'm going to post it in today's video anyway so y'all can see it. Peace and blessings, Aliyah. What happened today? Oh, because came in late. I was trying to bring you in. Look, I got my workout done a little bit late. I mean, it was before the video, but I was moving fast, you know. So up chatting with my husband and stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me hurry up. Okay, but I'm going to send that to you. I'm going to post it in today's video. And I came across it yesterday. So I was telling you about my Book of Remembrance that had come in. So I was reading more of it. And then I realized there was a portion from the ancient grandmothers. Oh, yeah, you beat her this morning. Well, she might be here. It's a few people here. She may be one of them. But it's a portion about the ancient grandmothers and some of the wisdom that came from them. I'm like, where has this been at? Oh, my gosh, our women need this. So I sent it to all the women I know. I texted to y'all this morning. I put it in our family group. I'm like, sis, y'all got to listen to this. Listen to this. It starts off and it tells you about the first family, which is Adam and Eve, and it goes into some detail, and it you may not recognize, well, you may recognize the name if you're familiar with Hebrew. So Eve, her name wasn't Eve, it was Kava. Adam, it wasn't Adam, it was close to Isaac, like it was, and I'd be messing up because I was trying to remember the pronunciation. It's Yatsuka. Anyway, if you listen to it, you know the name, the Yatsuka, the Y sounding one, that's Adam. I know when I started listening to it, because I actually ordered the hardback of it too, but I found it on YouTube and somebody's reading it. So really, Trina, I'm gonna send it to you. The ones that I missed this morning, because I was trying to hurry up and get down here and get everything. So I was like, oh, so I was just rapid fire and send it to everybody. And I'm only in like the third book of it, you know, just listening to it. I'm going to listen to it by the time it get here, because I think it's going to take just as long as my original Book of Remembrance took to get here. I had ordered the Book of Remembrance and forgot I ordered it. So when it showed up the other day, I was like, I forgot I ordered this. And that was the night I stayed up like 3 hours to like 3 o'clock in the morning reading through it. But I learned from that the original name. So when I was listening to the Book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, I was already familiar with the names just in a couple days. And they referred to Yahuwah the Most High as Enokis, which it actually, in the Book of Remembrance, there is the Hebrew breakdown. You can find it in the Strong's Concordance. It says Ano, A-N-O. But the Ano is I am, and Kist is loving kindness, or Kis, but anyway, they pronounce it Anokis. So anytime you hear Anokis, it's referring to the Most High, and Anokis means that I am loving kindness. So when I saw that one, it said Sunday delivery. Okay, all right. So, but I sent that to y'all, and the men may want to listen to it if you have daughters or whatever. But it goes and it gives just some. It tells about the first book is like 58 minutes for them to read. But you're going to get a lot of details of some stuff that we already know and some stuff that we didn't know. Some of those things we'll find in Jasher. A couple of things I definitely know we read in the Legends of the Jews. I'm like, oh, snap, I got to share this with them. But it in like the second book, which is only like 38 minutes, and it's what I sent y'all is a playlist, and what I'm gonna post up here today for everybody, it's a playlist, so you can jump to it, but don't jump through, y'all. Just listen to the playlist all the way through so you can get everything. If I had found the Book of Remembrance, but that I don't know that anybody's recorded that. I may someday in the future record it, but that's 555 pages, so I can see why there's not like an audio of that yet. But in it, when you get to the second book, it begins to talk about marriage and how Yahuwah married Adam, for the sake of names, everybody know Adam and Eve, which they use their real names, how he married them and the ceremony that he had and how he sung over them. I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. And then it goes to say, it starts giving wisdom, Yatsaka, that's it. They spell it different, but it's that. Yes, you said it right. Yes, Yatsaka. I think I may have messed it up, but yes, that's the right name, Aliyah. And Eve was Hua. It uses those names. But it even talks about marriage and how Yahuwah, how we was talking about this the other day, and how some of our men are waking up and multiplying women to themselves and wives and stuff. It even goes into that. It talks a little bit about that and why Yahuwah only wants one man and one woman. I'm like, see, I knew I wasn't tripping. This is what it said, but it gives a deeper explanation of how it brings wholeness, and it represents wholeness in all of creation. I was like, oh, I got to share this with everybody. I got to share this. But you got to go listen to it, y'all, and how it represents wholeness. And when we come together, what Yahuwah sees. Guys, you got to listen to it. And then it talks about the women. Starts talking about the little girls and stuff. And even how as she grows up, she is not even to sit on the same bed or same seat or bench as a man. Even in all her growing years, she is not to share a bed, a bench, or seat with any man until she's married. That right there is she's only to sit, like share a bed, just listen to it, only with her husband. So even as she grows, women, even as our daughters grow, there are things that we are to teach our daughters that will keep them in a way of holiness, right? Y'all, it's so good. Like, while I was on the trip, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Am I going to read it? No, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to share it with you today. And somebody else read it, but it's a really clear reading. So I'm going to share it with y'all. I'm going to leave it in the description and in the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. I was like, I got to share this one. And if y'all can get the original Book of Remembrance, if it's still there, I know it's like a few copies left. I know a few people have already ordered it. And it was like, I think they said, what was it, Alicia? It was like $35. $40. That's what I paid for it. So I'm not sure how much the price is when you go up there now. But I'll leave the links. I left the link for the Book of Remembrance in the video yesterday. But the portion of it for the Book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, I'm going to leave that as well so you can start listening. At least you can have that to listen to, because it goes and it shares some of the information from the one from 555 pages. But it's really good, y'all. And I'm not even all the way through it. I'm just in like the third part. I think it's like 7 parts. And it also goes in there. Also, I'm in the third book. And now it's also talking about, it's giving more information about the Sabbath, the Shabuah, But it's oh my gosh, it's so good, y'all. I'm telling y'all, anytime I come across something good that I know to be the truth and that I can verify, some things I know right off top, yes, this is the words of the Most Holy, I'm sharing it with y'all. Anything I'm sharing. If I can get it to y'all, I'm gonna get it to y'all. I'm post links, whatever. But anyway, y'all, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. It is January the 16th, 2021, day 52 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 721. We are reading Exodus 20, 28, 29, and 30. Then we're going to hop over into the legends of the Jews. Okay, but first let's start with the Shema. Remember, the Shema is found in Deuteronomy chapter 6, y'all. Okay. Oh, why that? The wrong one popped up. Nope, that's not what I clicked. Shema, not Shem. Oh, it opened up my Shem document. Oh, okay. Shema. I gotta type out the whole thing. Okay. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our God, He is one God, and you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them on the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these things, to fear Yahuwah our God, for our good always, that He might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as He has commanded us. And remember, the laws written on our hand represents action between the frontlets of our eyes. That's the thoughts. The gates of our house commanded our households, right? Remember, thoughts drive action. And we're to teach our household the ways of the Most High. Okay, let me pull this up. Shalom, shalom, Mom. Okay, y'all. Exodus chapter 28. Call for your brother Aaron and his sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Set them apart from the rest of the people of Israel, so that they may minister to me and be my priests. Make sacred garments for Aaron that are glorious and beautiful. Instruct all the skilled craftsmen whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom. Have them make garments for Aaron that will distinguish him as priest, set apart for my service. These are the garments they are to make: a chest piece, an ephod, a robe, a patterned tunic, a turban, and a sash. They are to make these sacred garments for your brother Aaron and his sons to wear them when they serve me as priests. So give them fine linen cloth, gold thread, and blue, purple, and scarlet thread. The craftsman must make an ephod of finely woven linen and skillfully embroider it with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. It will consist of 2 pieces, front and back, joined at the shoulders with 2 shoulder pieces. The decorative sash will be made of the same materials, finely woven, embroidered with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet thread. Take 2 onyx stones and engrave on them the names of the tribes of Israel. 6 names will be on each stone, arranged in the order of the births of the original sons of Israel. Engrave these names on the 2 stones in the same way a jeweler engraves a seal. Then mount the stones in setting of gold filigree. Fasten the 2 stones on the shoulder piece of the ephod as a reminder that Aaron represents the people of Israel. Aaron will carry these names on his shoulders as a constant reminder whenever he goes before Yahuwah. Make the settings of gold filigree, then braid 2 cords of pure gold and attach them to the filigree settings on the shoulder of the ephod. Then, with great skill and care, make a chest piece to be worn for seeking a decision from Yahuwah. Make it to match the ephod, finely woven linen embroidered with gold and blue and purple and scarlet thread. Make the chest piece of a single piece of cloth, folded to form a pouch 9 inches square. Let me tell y'all something. I promise you, you don't listen. Okay, so this right here, I understand this is talking about the chest piece and their the ephod and stuff like that. Is because I read about this in the actual Book of Remembrance. As Enoch is writing this and what Yahuwah is showing him, he's showing him how this was actually designed, and the Urim and the Thummim, right, and how they work. Like, so now when I read this, I'm like, ooh, I don't think people really know what this is. Like, it is really it's almost like that celestial. Remember we read about the celestial light? It's almost like it's infused with that. That's why they could, when they had that, it literally carries the tangible presence of the Most High on it. Like, and so when I read this now, I know what they're talking about. Okay, but maybe because I know that book is really thick. Maybe I'll find a day where I can just bring out that portion of it. Or you know what, maybe I may just have to read, like do a separate video aside from the live, and maybe just record little bits and pieces and upload it so you can hear if you can't get the book. Because I don't know that there's an online version where you can read the Book of Remembrance. At least the one that I've found yet. Maybe there is, but I haven't found it yet. I only know it's the hardback, you know. So if you don't have the money to get that, I want to share it with people, but I only have so much time. But I'm gonna see how long it's gonna take me to do that for those. But I'll post the link again today for that. If y'all can get it, save up for whatever. I may not have the time to read it just because of everything I got going on. But I really want to. I think that probably make time to read that, and so you can see how the urine and the Thummim works. It guys, I get so excited. I be like a kid in a candy store, and I be want to share it with everybody. Okay, but I know you can't share it with everybody. It's only to be shared with the righteous, because if the wicked get their hands on this stuff, which we can clearly see, and how things are going awry, they have taken some of the most holy things of our Father, and they have created massive destruction on this earth. Like, I'm looking at things like in an entirely different light now. Understand some of these things that's happening, and like behind the scenes, and like understanding it, right? Okay. I just wanted to say that about the urine and the Thummim. We're going to read a little bit about that, and we're going to see that they used it throughout the time. And if you read through the Bible, you remember the urine and the Thummim and how they would actually pull that out, and how they would seek the Most High with that in front of them, right? Okay, listen. Then with great skill and care, make a chest piece to be worn for seeking a decision from Yahuwah. Make it to match the ephod, using finely woven linen embroidered with gold and with blue, purple, and scarlet. Make the chest piece of a single piece of cloth, folded to form a pouch 9 inches square. Mount 4 rows of gemstones on it. The first row will contain a red carnelian, a pale green peridot, and an emerald. The second row will contain a turquoise, a blue lapis lazuli, and a white moonstone. The third row will contain an orange jacinth, an agate, and a purple amethyst. The fourth row will contain a blue-green beryl, an onyx, and a green jasper. All these stones will be set in gold filigree. Each stone will represent one of the 12 sons of Israel, and the name of that tribe will be engraved on it like a seal. To attach the chest piece to the ephod, make braided cords of pure gold thread. Then make 2 gold rings and attach them to the top corners of the chest piece. Tie the 2 gold cords to the 2 rings on the chest piece. Tie the other ends of the cords to the gold settings on the shoulder pieces of the ephod. Then make 2 more gold rings and attach them to the inside edges of the chest piece next to the ephod. And make 2 more gold rings and attach them to the front of the ephod below the shoulder pieces, just above the knot where the decorative sash is fastened to the ephod. Then attach the bottom rings of the chest piece to the rings on the ephod with blue cords. This will hold the chest piece securely to the ephod above the decorative sash. In this way, Aaron will carry the names of the tribes of Israel on the sacred chest piece over his heart when he goes into the holy place. This will be a continual reminder that he represents the people when he comes before Yahuwah. Insert the Urim and the Thummim in the sacred chest piece so that they will be carried over Aaron's heart when he goes into Yahuwah's presence. And it explains why you carry the Urim and the Thummim over the heart. Guys, I'm telling you, y'all got to get the book. I cannot stress that enough. If you can get it, get it. I'm going to try and read it in a separate video and upload it so you can hear it. If you can't get the can't get the book. Okay. Aaron will always carry over his heart the objects used to determine Yahuwah's will for his people whenever he goes in before Yahuwah. Make the robe that is worn with the ephod from a single piece of blue cloth with an opening for Aaron's head in the middle of it. Reinforce the opening with a woven collar so it will not tear. Make pomegranates out of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and attach them to the hem of the robe with gold bells between them. The gold bells and the pomegranates are to alternate all around the hem. Aaron will wear this robe whenever he ministers before Yahuwah, and the bells will tinkle. As he goes in and out of Yahuwah's presence in the holy place. If he wears it, he will not die. Next, make a medallion of pure gold and engrave it like a seal with the words, "Holy to Yahuwah." Attach the medallion with the blue cord in front of Aaron's turban where it must remain. Aaron must wear it on his forehead so he may take on himself any guilt of the people of Israel when they consecrate their sacred offerings. He must always wear it on his forehead so Yahuwah will accept the people. Weave Aaron's patterned tunic from fine linen cloth. Fashion the turban from the linen as well. Also make a sash and decorate it with colorful embroidery. For Aaron's sons, make tunics, sashes, and special head coverings that are glorious and beautiful. Clothe your brother Aaron and his sons with these garments and anoint them and ordain them. Consecrate them so that they may serve as my priests. Also make linen undergarments for them to be worn next to their bodies, reaching from their hips to their thighs. These must be worn whenever Aaron and his sons enter the tabernacle to approach the altar or in the holy place to perform their priestly duties. Then they will not incur guilt and die. This is a permanent law for Aaron and all his descendants after him. All right, y'all. Exodus chapter 29. This is the ceremony you must follow when you consecrate Aaron and his sons to serve me as priests. Take a young bull and 2 rams with no defects. Then, using choice wheat flour and no yeast, make loaves of bread, thin cakes mixed with olive oil and wafers spread with oil. Place them all in a single basket and present them at the entrance of the tabernacle, along with the young bull and 2 rams.
Young bull.
All right, I love you. Okay. Present Aaron and his sons at the entrance of the tabernacle and wash them with water. Dress Aaron in his priestly garments, the tunic, the robe worn with the ephod itself, and the chest piece. Then wrap the decorative sash of the ephod around him. Place the turban on his head and fasten the sacred medallion to the turban. Then anoint him by pouring the anointing oil over his head. Next, present his sons and dress them in their tunics. Wrap the sashes around the waist of Aaron and his sons and put their special head coverings on them. Then the right to the priesthood will be theirs by law forever. In this way you will ordain Aaron and his sons. Bring the young bull to the entrance of the tabernacle, where Aaron and his sons will lay their hands on its head. Then slaughter the bull in Yahuwah's presence at the entrance of the tabernacle. Put some of its blood on the horns of the altar with your finger, and pour out the rest at the base of the altar. Then all the fat around the internal organs, the lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them, and burn it all on the altar. Then take the rest of the bull, including its hide, meat, and dung, and burn it outside the camp as a sin offering. Next, Aaron and his sons must lay their hands on the head of one of the rams. Then slaughter the ram and splatter its blood against all sides of the altar. Cut the ram into pieces and wash off the internal organs and the legs. Set them alongside the head and the other pieces of the body. Then burn the entire animal on the altar. This is a burnt offering to Yahuwah. It is a pleasing aroma, a special gift presented to Yahuwah. Now take the other ram and have Aaron and his sons lay their hands on its head. Then slaughter it and apply some of its blood to the right earlobes of Aaron and his sons. Also put it on the thumbs of their right hands and the big toes of their right feet. Splatter the rest of the blood against all the sides of the altar. Then take some of the blood from the altar and some of the anointing oil and sprinkle it on Aaron and his sons and on their garments. In this way, they and their garments will be set apart as holy. Since this is the ram for the ordination of Aaron and his sons, take the fat of the ram, including the fat of the broad tail, the fat around the internal organs, the long lobe of the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them, along with the right thigh. Then take 1 round loaf of bread, 1 thin cake mixed with olive oil, and 1 wafer from the basket of bread without yeast that was placed in Yahuwah's presence. Put all of these in the hands of Aaron and his sons to be lifted up as a special offering to Yahuwah. Afterwards, take the bread from their hands and burn them on the altar along with the burnt offering. It is a pleasing aroma to Yahuwah, a special gift to him. Then take the breast of Aaron's ordination ram and lift it up in Yahuwah's presence as a special gift offering to him. Then keep it as your own portion. Set aside the portions of the ordination ram that belongs to Aaron and his sons. This includes the breast and the thigh that were lifted up before Yahuwah as a special offering. In the future, whenever the people of Israel lift up a peace offering, a portion of it must be set aside for Aaron and his descendants. This is their permanent right, and it is a sacred offering from the Israelites to Yahuwah. Aaron's sacred garments must be preserved for his descendants who succeed him, and they will wear them when they are anointed and ordained. The descendant who succeeds him as high priest will wear these clothes for 7 days as he ministers in the tabernacle and the holy place. Take the ram used in the ordination ceremony and boil its meat in a sacred place. Then Aaron and his sons will eat this meat along with the bread in the basket at the tabernacle entrance. They alone may eat the meat and bread used for their purification in the ordination ceremony. No one else may eat them, for these things are set apart and holy. If any of the ordination meat or bread remains until morning, it must be burned. It may not be eaten, for it is holy. This is how you will ordain Aaron and his sons to their offices, just as I have commanded you. The ordination ceremony will go on for 7 days. Each day you must sacrifice a young bull as a sin offering to purify them, making them right with Yahuwah. Afterwards, cleanse the altar by purifying it, making it holy by anointing it with oil. Purify the altar and consecrate it every day for 7 days. After that, the altar will be absolutely holy, and whatever touches it will become holy. These are the sacrifices you are to offer regularly on the altar. Each day, offer 2 lambs that are a year old, one in the morning and the other in the evening. With one of them, offer 2 quarts of choice flour mixed with 1 quart of pure oil of pressed olives. Also, offer 1 quart of wine as a liquid offering. Offer the other lamb in the evening, along with the same offerings of flour and wine in the morning. It will be a pleasing aroma, a special gift presented to Yahuwah. These burnt offerings are to be made each day from generation to generation. Offer them in Yahuwah's presence at the tabernacle. There I will meet with you and speak with you. I will meet with the people of Israel there, in the place made holy by my glorious presence. Yes, I will consecrate the tabernacle and the altar, and I will consecrate Aaron and his sons to serve me as priests. Then I will live among the people of Israel and be their God, and they will know that I am Yahuwah, their God. I am the one who brought them out of the land of Egypt so that I could live among them. I am Yahuwah, their God. Okay, so we're about to read the last chapter of Exodus, but I want you to remember, every time that they were offering sacrifices, guys, they were cooking. You know how we cook and we say a blessing and we eat? Yahuwah say unless it's a burnt offering, remember, a burnt offering is just as it says. It's completely burned up where the aroma just, it wafts And Yahuwah just catches the smell of that. He said, but all our other offerings that we are to present them to the priest will bless the most holy, lift them up, and then Yahuwah in return, he says, thank you, now I give these to you. So the food that they had just cooked and gave to Yah in turn gave it to the priest for the priest to have as meat. So literally they were having dinners. Every time they do these sacrifices, it's bringing dinners. They're cooking. They had meat, they had oil, they had flour. That sound like they frying up some chicken, although we know it ain't chicken. And they had wine to drink. Think about what's happening here. Because Yahuwah's not gonna go down. He said, my portion, burn it up. I can smell that. He said, but this portion, he said, I'm giving to my priest, and that's been his promise. Everything. Yahuwah said, I am the priest's portion, although Yahuwah is all of our portion, but specifically for his priesthood, those who serve him, he said, all that is given to me, I'm going to turn around and give to you for your faithful service to me. He said, so you take it and you enjoy it, and he requires that the people, when they bring offerings to the Most High, that it's the best, because he's going to in turn around and always give the best to us, to his people, right? So just remember that when you read about the sacrifices and stuff, a burnt offering is completely burned up. And it goes into the air, it goes into the ether, whatever, and it disappears, smells like air. It just dissolves into the air, and it's a pleasing aroma, a special gift to the Most Holy. But everything else that we cook up, we thank the Most High for it. The Most Holy, thank you. And he said, all right, now I give it back to you. You enjoy the food. Eat up, right? Okay. Last chapter, Exodus chapter 30. And then we're going to hop over to the legends of the Jews. Then make another altar of acacia wood for burning incense. Make it 18 inches square and 36 inches high, with horns at the corners carved from the same piece of wood as the altar itself. Overlay the top, sides, and horns of the altar with pure gold, and run a gold molding around the entire altar. Make 2 gold rings and attach them on the opposite sides of the altar below the gold molding to hold the carrying poles. Make the poles of acacia wood and overlay them with gold. Place the incense altar just outside of the inner curtain that shields the Ark of the Covenant, in front of the Ark's cover, the place of atonement that covers the tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. I will meet you in there. Every morning, when Aaron maintains the lamps, he must burn fragrant incense on the altar. And each evening, when he lights the lamps, he must again burn incense in Yahuwah's presence. This must be done from generation to generation. Do not offer any unholy incense on this altar, or any burnt offerings, grain offerings, or liquid offerings. Once a year, Aaron must purify the altar by smearing its horns with the blood from the offering made to purify the people from their sin. This will be a regular annual event from generation to generation, for this is Yahuwah's most holy altar. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, whenever you take a census of the people of Israel, each man who is counted must pay a ransom for himself to Yahuwah. Then no plague will strike the people as you count them. Each person who is counted must give a small piece of silver as a sacred offering to Yahuwah. This payment is half a shekel, based on the sanctuary shekel, which equals 20 gerahs. All who have reached their 20th birthday must give this sacred offering to Yahuwah. When this offering is given to Yahuwah to purify your lives, making you right with him, the rich must not give more than the specified amount, and the poor must not give less. Receive this ransom money from the Israelites and use it for the care of the tabernacle. Tootie, you got it? Okay. Okay. Be careful on them heels, girl. All right. Y'all hear that? That's her walking through here in my heels. She loves playing dress up. I mean, she got mismatched heels on, but she don't care. She walking them heels better than me. I ain't even gonna lie. I have on tennis shoes and flip-flops most of the time because I got to keep up with them. She go in my closet. You ain't gonna wear them, I'm wear them. And she wear them through the house. Changing out her little dress-out clothes and stuff and everything. I don't mess with it. I live alone. Receive this ransom money from the Israelites and use it for the care of the tabernacle. It will bring the Israelites to Yahuwah's attention. It will bring the Israelites to Yahuwah's attention, and it will purify their lives. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, make a bronze wash basin with a bronze stand. Place it between the tabernacle and the altar and fill it with water. Aaron and his sons will wash their hands and feet there. They must wash with water whenever they go into the tabernacle to appear before Yahuwah, and when they approach the altar to burn up their special gifts to Yahuwah, or they will die. They must always wash their hands and feet, or they will die. This is a permanent law for Aaron and his descendants to be observed from generation to generation. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, collect choice spices, 12.5 pounds of pure myrrh, 6 1/4 pounds of fragrant cinnamon, 6 1/4 pounds of fragrant calamus, and 12.5 pounds of cassia, measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. Also get 1 gallon of olive oil. Like a skilled incense maker, blend these ingredients to make a holy anointing oil. Use this sacred oil to anoint the tabernacle, the Ark of the Covenant, and the table and all its utensils, the lampstand and all its accessories, and the incense altar, the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils, and the wash basin with its stand. Consecrate them to make them absolutely holy. After this, whatever touches them will also become holy. Anoint Aaron and his sons also, consecrating them to me to serve as priests, and say to the people of Israel, this holy anointing oil is reserved for me from generation to generation. It must never be used to anoint anyone else, and you must never make any blend like it for yourselves. It is holy. You must treat it as holy. Anyone who makes a blend like it or anoints someone other than a priest will be cut off from the community. Hold on. What you say, Aliyah? In the beginning, the Malakis were the ones feeding Adam and Eve. So does that really go away since the first man disobeyed the Most High? Wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. In the beginning, the Malakis were the ones feeding Adam and Eve, but does that really go away? I want to make sure I understand your question, Aliyah. I mean, I get what you're saying. Rephrase that for me. You're asking, I think I'm trying to figure out, does what go away? I think I may have read something where I'm not connected, and maybe what I read to your comment. Can you rephrase that for me so I know exactly what you're talking about? Okay, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to come back to it. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, gather fragrant spices, resin droplets, mullet shell, and galbanum, and mix these fragrant spices with pure frankincense, weighed out in equal amounts. Using the usual techniques in the incense maker, blend the spices together and sprinkle them with salt to produce a pure and holy incense. Grind some of the mixture into a very fine powder and put it in front of the Ark of the Covenant, where I will meet with you in the tabernacle. You must treat this incense as most holy. Never use this formula to make this incense for yourselves. It is reserved for Yahuwah, and you must treat it as holy. Anyone who makes incense like this for personal use will be cut off from the community. Okay, y'all, so that is the last chapter of Exodus for today, and we're going to hop on right on over here to the Legends of the Jews and pick up where we left off yesterday. Okay. Did you get what I don't want to assume what you're talking about, because I saw your comment come in when I was reading up ahead. I just want to make sure. Okay. Like the food itself, would it be done away with since they obeyed the Most High, or would they be feeding them like before? What food? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a little slow. What food are you talking about? Are you talking about like the food that the people brought to the priest? I want to make sure because I think I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Okay. Let me read both your comments. In the beginning, the Malakis, or angels, were the ones feeding Adam and Eve. So does that really go away since the first man disobeyed the Most High? Like the food itself, would it be done away with since they disobeyed the Most High, or would we be feeding them like before? The manna. Oh, okay. I don't know. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, I'm going to just say I don't know on this one. That's a good question, though. That's a good question. See, I don't want to say something and somebody... let me just say I don't know. Let me look at that. Because the Most High stopped due to Adam's sin. See, at the beginning, let me just say this. At the beginning, before the sin of Adam and Eve came in, everything, like, Yahuwah took care of everything, right? He caused the fruits, the vegetation, and everything to grow. Like, they didn't like have to toil. You know, they were just like, they were like the husbandmen. They were just here, like, you know, but they didn't like what we have to do today. Like, we get down on our hands and knees, we gotta have tools and do all this and break up the ground. They didn't have to do any of that. Yahuwah just caused all that to naturally happen, and the food just produced itself. And the Most High, it was easy for them to eat and stuff, because the Most High was the one in the background taking on all the toil and stuff, causing everything to grow. He still does now, but now, if we kind of want to see this happen, especially nowadays, because forest trees are cut down, they done build houses, so you got to go in and actually plant seeds now yourself and cause things to grow. And although we don't control what happens under the ground, because the earth literally goes in and do that, really, all we can, like, we're not the ones who cause the growth. We put the seed in the ground. We make sure that the soil is good from what we understand. But it's ultimately Yahuwah who is going to cause that seed to crush under the pressure and begin to grow and break through the soil. But, everything we doing is just like on top of that. Like, we're doing what we know to do, but we can't cause the seed in the ground to grow. It's still Yahuwah ultimately, and the power that he's given to the dirt, whether it's in the ground or it's in a pot. I still don't really understand how that works, but Yahuwah still causes that growth. But it's a lot of our extra toil that we put on it. It says, because when I read it, it says the angel Gabriel was the one bringing them their daily meals. That's why I asked. I know what you're talking about. I read it too. Okay, so... yeah, yes, yeah. It went away, because now, like, it's not like we got to fend for ourselves, so to speak, but it's more work that we got to do. So, I would say yeah, because it was never meant to be that way. Yahuwah, everything was, when we just, like, that was never something that we was ever supposed to worry about how we was going to eat. Yahuwah had provided all of that, right? But since, listen. I just got this as I was about to say this. Remember how Yahuwah punishes. Measure for measure. Right? Now think about when they took the fruit from the tree that he told them not to eat from. That the fruit that he provided, that he caused the growth to happen, he himself. When they went and disobeyed him and took of the fruit, even though he told them not to, they could eat of anything, but he told them not to eat of that. Now, because they did that, they went and ate something that Yahuwah causes to grow, but he put limits on this right here. And I know it's other interpretations, not negating that. That stuff's still good, but I just saw something as I was saying this on how Yahuwah punishes us measure for measure. So in that very thing, now we have to go and we have to toil and make the food. You get what I'm saying? But we got to do the work. We got to get seeds and stuff. And now we have to toil in the soil and stuff and causing it to grow. And if we're not the ones who out here toiling in the soil, because we have supermarkets and stuff nowadays, we got to just go to work and toil, or have a business and toil in our business to get the money simply so we can eat and continue to shelter ourselves. Because when it comes down to it, we're still pretty much doing everything so we can stay alive. We're toiling, we're working so we can provide to keep ourselves clothed properly, ourselves sheltered properly, and be able to feed ourselves. But before we sin, we have to worry about any of that. Yahuwah clothed us with his glory, with his righteousness. We were shielded from everything that was outside of the garden, because Yahuwah took care of the house and he brought the food in, So that's the best way. Yeah. So I would say yes, due to Adam's sin. Yeah, that's a part of the punishment. So right, it makes sense. But hopefully it'll go back like before. Shoot, I want the angel to feed us after all those years. I feel the same way. You're welcome. But yeah. So, but Yahuwah did say, he said all these things will be restored. But we haven't gotten there yet. So, but we do what we know to do now. We return to the Most High, right, and keeping what He tell us to keep. So. But here's also something, y'all, that I noticed that I don't think a lot of people realize, but you read it in Isaiah and some of the prophets, right? And we talk about although we're going through here, we're talking about the Levitical priesthood and stuff, and we know that the priesthood is suspended and the sacrifices are suspended, right? We're in captivity. There is no temple. I've noticed, I've heard, and some of our people that have gone back, they're going back to do some of these things, right? And they're slaughtering animals. But I think they're still missing a piece of the puzzle, right? I don't think that we're going to go back to actually slaughtering animals. Because if you read in, I believe it's Isaiah, there is a portion in, I believe it's, don't quote me, I need to look that up. But I know it's in there. But when Yahuwah begins to restore everything, where he said that we're pretty much going to live in harmony, and the child will be able to play over a snake's hole and to come out, and the child won't be bit. The child began to, the lion and there's a couple different versions now that I realize this. They said the lion and the lamb will live peacefully together, but another version said like the lion and the wolf, or the wolf and the lamb. It's like two different ones that they use, and I didn't realize that till just recently. I'm like, oh wait, what? So but I brought all that up to say Yahuwah says that no one will hurt in all his holy mountain. Like, you're not going to be slaughtering animals. So I'm like, well, okay, so if it's being returned to like it was for, that would make sense, because before the sin, we weren't slaughtering animals. The animals weren't like running roughshod all over the earth either, because sin hadn't come in. And if he's going to restore it like it was back, to the original oasis of Eden, that would make sense that we would no longer have to slaughter animals. I think he cut all that out with the temple anyway, although some people are trying to go back and say, oh, we need to do this, and the red heifer and all this. I was like, I get what y'all saying. I get the logic in that. I remember hearing that growing up, and even as I was transitioning through the Jewish church and the Hebrew roots and all, I get that. I said, but something is a bit off about that doesn't sit right, because Yahuwah said that we would return back to the original way things were. And he said no one will hurt in all his holy mountain, right? And so that's the piece that the people miss. And I'm just like, because you got to think about it first. Why should the innocent animals have to die for your sin? And matter of fact, if the people had kept to Yahuwah's laws, they would not have to sacrifice animals, because they would be without sin, right? So the offerings and the sacrifices, they were for like unintentional sins and stuff like that. You get it as we go through here. But even as we go through, and as they're in the different captivities, we'll read and even think about Daniel. Daniel ain't never slaughtered an animal. They ain't talk about slaughtering the animals a day in their life, but they was in captivity and stuff like that, right? So you got to think about all this. Every time the temple was destroyed, it was destroyed a couple times to the last great destruction, where it'll never be rebuilt again. The one that's the being rebuilt, like man is trying to rebuild that temple, but in other manuscripts, and even here in the Legends of the Jews, and the portion I saw in the Book of Remembrance, Yahuwah himself is building that, and what I mean, he may build it with his own hands, but as heaven and earth merges, it's gonna like it. I don't really understand how that's gonna work, or if he's actually gonna use actual builders. But what I understand is that temple already exists. From if I'm understanding it correctly, that temple already exists, and I think we have the wrong understanding. Well, it could be me. I could have the wrong understanding, but the more I'm looking, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this would make sense. So I think we're striving here, trying to do things that's not quite lining up with the real interpretation of what Yahuwah was saying, and that's one of the drawbacks of having people interpret the words of the Most Holy whom it wasn't given to. Like, his words, the Torah, scriptures, were only given to Jacob, the descendants of Jacob. Other nations had it. They split it up and other people teaching it. Okay, well and good, But to get the proper interpretation, that's why a lot of people, they kind of off on. Like, matter of fact, if you can't even get Yahuwah's people right, if you can't pinpoint who Yahuwah's people are in this day, all your prophecies are going to be off. I'm going to just tell you that right up front. Because if you can't get the people right, you're wrong. You are wrong. So, but, yeah. Yeah, so once it's restored, and we see the process as we're returning to Yahuwah's commands and stuff, and just keeping his laws, and none of his laws or commands are hard to keep, y'all. That's why we're reading this. That's why we're reading this, because we need to actually see what's there. People confuse with where it says the priest will be doing sacrifices forever, but the question is, what sacrifices are they going to do? Right? And I think Yahuwah gives us a glimpse of that, like what sacrifices. Listen, like even in what Samuel said to Saul, what Samuel said to King Saul, Yahuwah says, I desire obedience rather than sacrifice. And think about King David. When King David was talking about offering Yahuwah the sacrifice of our lips, the bulls of our lips. This is what you desire. Thanksgiving and praise coming from our lips. He and the us living clean lives. That's what Yahuwah desires. That's how it was in the beginning. We're simply trying to return to how it was in the beginning, right? So sometimes people do too much, and I feel like right now we need to return to him and keep his laws and commands, like you always say. Yeah, I mean, that's what Yahuwah has always been saying. He has always been saying that if we would just keep this, we'll be good. And what I've noticed, when we begin to keep this, understanding comes back. We begin to understand here a little and there a little. And it's like, how could we have ever done that when it's like we carry around a book, but it's like it's closed to us. It's like we can't even understand. We read the words on the page, but the understanding is just not there. Like we have an understanding that our captors have given us about the words of the Most Holy, who was given directly to us. And Yahuwah allowed it to be that way for a time because we refused to keep it. So he said, I'm going to close it. And it's going to be dispersed through all the other nations. Now, he has given understanding to those who are truly seeking him, who are not his own, right? Because there are those that are not his own that is like, I want you. I'm going to turn away and I'm going to put away the gods that my fathers have worshipped, and I want you, the God of Israel. I want you. And Yahuwah honors that, and he cleans them up. And he gives them insight and revelation. Not all of them that say that, because a lot of them are shenaniganizers, if that's even a word. Okay, y'all, let's read this. We already at 52 minutes. Okay. The Return to Egypt. We're on page 229, Legends of the Jews. If you got the smaller book, the heading is The Return to Egypt. So we're gonna read two. We're gonna read two of these. We're gonna read these two sections and then we'll be done for the day. Okay. I'm sorry for all the extra commentary, y'all. All right. When Moses finally gave in, remember, so yesterday Yahuwah's getting him, come on, we need to go, it's time to go. So finally, okay, I'm gonna go to Pharaoh. All right, so when Moses finally gave in and declared himself ready to go to Egypt as Yahuwah's messenger, his acceptance was still conditional upon the promise of Yahuwah to fulfill all his wishes, and Yahuwah granted him whatever he desired except immortality and entering into the Holy Land. Yahuwah also allayed his fears regarding the danger that threatened him from his Willem enemies, Dathan and Abiram, on the account of whom he had to flee from Egypt. He told him that they had sunk into the estate of poor and insignificant men, bereft of the power of doing him any harm. Moses was loyal to the oath he had given his father-in-law Jethro, never to return to Egypt without securing his consent. His first concern, therefore, was to go back to Midian and obtain his permission, which Jethro gave freely. Then Moses could set out on his journey. He tarried only to take his wife and his children with him, which made his father-in-law say, "Those who are in Egypt are to leave it, and thou desirest to take more thither?" Moses replied, Very soon the slaves held in bondage in Egypt will be redeemed, and they will go forth from the land and gather at Mount Sinai and hear the words, I am Yahuwah thy God, and should not my sons be present there? Jethro asked the justice of Moses' words, and he said to him, Go in peace, enter Egypt in peace, and leave the land in peace. At last Moses sallied forth upon his journey to Egypt, accompanied by his wife and children. He was mounted upon the very ass that had borne Abraham to the Akedah on Mount Moriah, the ass upon which the Messiah will appear riding at the end of days. Even now his journey begun. Moses was but half-hearted about his mission. He traveled leisurely, thinking, when I arrive in Egypt and announce to the children of Israel that the end of the term of the Egyptian slavery has come, they will say, we know very well that our bondage must last 400 years, and the end is not yet. But if I were to put this objection before Yahuwah, he would break out in wrath against me. It is best for me to consume as much time as possible on the way thither. Yahuwah was ill pleased with Moses for this artifice, and he spake to him, saying, Joseph prophesied long ago that the oppression of Egypt would endure only 210 years. For his lack of faith, Moses was punished while he was on the road to Egypt. The angels Af and Hema appeared and swallowed his whole body down to his feet, and they gave him up only after Zipporah, nimble as a bird, circumcised her son Gershom and touched the feet of her husband with the blood of the circumcision. The reason why their son had remained uncircumcised until then was that Jethro had made the condition when he consented to the marriage of his daughter with Moses, that the first son of their union should be brought up as a Gentile. When Moses was released by the angels, he attacked them, and he slew Hema, whose host of angels, however, held their own before the assailant. The divine force heard by Moses in Midian, telling him to return to his brethren in Egypt, fell at the same time upon the ear of Aaron, dwelling in Egypt, and it bade him go into the wilderness to meet Moses. Yahuwah speaketh marvelously with his voice, and therefore the same revelation could be understood one way in Midian and in another way in Egypt. The greeting of the two brothers was very cordial. Envy and jealousy had no place between them. Aaron was rejoiced that Yahuwah had chosen his younger brother to be the redeemer of Israel, and Moses was rejoiced that his older brother had been divinely appointed as the high priest in Israel. Yahuwah knew their hearts, for at the time when he charged him with the Egyptian mission, Moses had said, all these years Aaron has been active as a prophet in Israel, and should I now encroach upon his province and cause him vexation? But Yahuwah reassured him, saying, Moses, thy brother Aaron will surely not be vexed. He will rather rejoice at thy mission. Yea, he will come forth and meet thee. Aaron showed his joy freely at seeing his brother once more after their separation of many years. As for his joy in the distinction accorded to Moses, it was too great to be expressed in all its depths and extent. For his kind, generous spirit, he received a reward from Yahuwah, and that he was permitted to bear the Urim and the Thummim upon his heart. For Yahuwah said, the heart that rejoiceth at the exalting of a brother shall wear the Urim and the Thummim. Aaron ran to meet his brother and embraced him and asked where he had spent all the years of their separation. When he was told in Midian, he continued to question him, saying, who are these traveling with thee? Yes, baby girl.
You come back on.
Okay, give me a few minutes and you need to put on some clothes because it's a little chilly.
Mommy.
Yes, baby.
Okay, baby.
I see your baby. Okay, give me a few minutes. Let me finish reading this, all right? Now I can play with you. When he was told in Midian, he continued to question him, saying, who are these that are traveling with thee? Moses, my wife and my sons. Aaron, whither goest thou with them? Moses, to Egypt. Aaron, what? Great enough is our sorrow through those who have been in Egypt from the beginning, and thou takest more to the land? Moses realized that Aaron was right, and he sent his wife and his sons back to his father-in-law Jethro. He was no less magnanimous than Aaron. If the elder brother felt no envy on account of the younger brother's dignity, dignity, the younger brother did not withhold from the other the teachings and revelations that he had received. Immediately after meeting with Aaron, Moses told him all that Yahuwah had taught him, even the awful secret of the ineffable name communicated to him on Mount Horeb. In obedience to the command of Yahuwah, the elders of the people were assembled, and before them Moses performed the wonders that were to be his credentials as the Redeemer sent to deliver the people. Nevertheless, the deeds he did were not so potent in convincing them of the reality of the mission as the words wherein Yahuwah had announced the approaching redemption to him, which he repeated in their ears. The elders knew that Jacob had imparted to Joseph the secret mark designating the Redeemer, and Joseph had in turn confided it to his brethren before his death. The last surviving one of the brethren, Asher, had revealed it to his daughter Sarah in the following words: He that will come and proclaim the redemption with the words of Yahuwah, I have surely visited you and seen that which is done to you in Egypt. He is the true Redeemer. Sarah was still alive at Moses' return, and the elders betook themselves to her and told her the words announcing the redemption. When she heard that his words had been the same as those Asher quoted, she knew that he was the promised Redeemer, and all the people believed in him. Thereupon Moses invited the elders to go to Pharaoh with him, but they lacked the courage to appear before the king. Though they started out with Moses, they dropped off stealthily on the way, one by one, and when Moses and Aaron stood in the presence of the king, they found themselves alone, deserted by all the others. The elders did not go out free. Their punishment was that Yahuwah did not permit them to ascend to the holy mountain with Moses. They durst accompany him on the way to Yahuwah only as far as they had accompanied him on the way to Pharaoh. Oh my gosh. Ooh, listen. So look. Remember when we read the other day, remember how I said I done read this all this many times, and I did not realize, and it said there in plain English, all this time that when Moses went up to the mountain, when Eleazar and Aaron and his son and the 70 elders went up with them, that they saw Yah, and Yah said he didn't kill them. They looked on the Most High, and they didn't die, and they all sat there and they ate. These was the same elders that walked with Moses, right? So listen, and because they dropped, had they would have gone with Moses, they too would have been able to ascend with Moses for them 40 days. Oh my gosh. People, we got to get it together. Just know that the Most Holy is going to take care of us, and some of our actions or some of our choices where we may be afraid moving and not trusting in the Most High fully, it may bereave us of some of the blessings that Yahuwah has waiting for us. Just imagine how much different it would have been, how much different the outcome of the story would be if the 70 elders had just went with Moses and saw him. They would have got to ascend to the throne in heaven with Moses them 70 days, so it wouldn't have just been Moses there. It would have been him and the 70 elders. That's what it just said. I'm going to read this again. This just blows my mind. The elders did not go out free. Their punishment was that Yahuwah did not permit them to ascend the holy mountain with Moses. They durst accompany him on the way to Yahuwah only as far as they had accompanied him on the way to Pharaoh, and then they had to tarry again until he came. Remember, Yahuwah metes out punishment measure for measure. Measure for measure. All right, this is the last section, y'all. Sounds like they were cowards, like some people scared in Babylon more than the Most High. Yeah, but what you'll realize is when you return, and that's something I realized, there's like this extra added measure of boldness that has come upon me as I begun to go back and actually reading through, like, without fail. Like, I mean, I read the New Testament most of my whole life, but I'm like, you know what, for a period of time, I'm putting it away, because I can rattle that off to you almost word for word. I'm going to spend all this time, just like I spent there, I'm going to totally focus on the Old Testament, and I'm just going to keep reading it over and over. So I start at Genesis, go to Malachi, start over, go to Genesis, read it to Malachi, start at Genesis, go to Malachi, just like I was I did that, I'm gonna do it this way. And I realized that's when things begin to change on the inside. I mean, I was like, hold on, what's going on inside of me? You know, like I feel things like nothing that I've ever felt like when I was reading the New Testament, because it seemed like there is sustenance here, that it's like firm footing here, and it's like I think I explained this to y'all before, but it feels like a gate has come down and locked in. And like Trina, anybody that's familiar with ships, or if y'all seen on movies where they have ships where they're closing scuttle doors and stuff, and when you close them and you turn the wheel on it, the locking mechanism, or any kind of lock, it's like the locking mechanism goes in, and it's impossible to get that door open. You ain't gonna be able to jimmy rig it. The only way you gonna get that open, if it's locked like that, is you gonna have to use some dynamite to blow it open, and even then that doesn't work. Think about that. That's what it feels like, something that's going in and locked down on the inside of me. It's like some things, and people have said some horrible things like in messages. So I did put up some what you call it, some filters that catch stuff in YouTube, the comments that'll catch some stuff seems to still slip through. You know, I will allow your comments if they're not disrespectful or, you know, perverted and stuff like that. YouTube does a pretty good job of catching those things. So when I go back sometimes, probably like once a month, and I check through it to see what they've caught, some of them I'm like, oh, Father, forgive them. They know not what they say. I was like, this is disgusting. Like, seriously. So I'm grateful for some of the measures that YouTube has for catching inappropriate things. But yeah, and there are some people, they even call me denying the Messiah. I'm like, Yahuwah is the Messiah. What are you talking about? I have not turned away from him. Neither am I trying to turn anybody away from him. But it's like the indoctrination of the church. Now I can understand. I'm able to separate truth from error for the most part. I'm still growing. But it's like I'm not walking like in that whole phrase. You're not gonna scare me because I know who I serve. You're not going to tell me, oh, you're going to go to hell. You didn't deny. No, I haven't. I have not denied the Most High. I have not denied him. You know, so it's things like that. But yeah, it's something that just, when you just take Yahuwah at his word, even if you can't see, even if it looks scary, I would proceed scared, but like, Father, I'm scared, but I'm going to keep moving because you said go. Like, if you told me to go, you're going to keep me. But I'm just letting you know I'm scared and I'm shaking in my boots, but I'm still moving. You know, I'm still moving. Just do it scared. Do it afraid. Just know that the Most High is with you. So, but yeah, I don't want to lose any blessings that I may have because I didn't trust you. And my fear says that I don't trust you enough to keep me, you know. But that's something I realized by going back in and actually reading through it. Just reading it like starting all over. Just reading it like I'm reading a book, just to understand the story. Who are the characters? Who are the people? Okay, and who is this God? Okay, and what happened in this garden? Who are these people? Like, seriously, reading it like I'd never read it before. I ain't throw out the baby with the bathwater, but I'm just like, okay, Father, I need you to teach me. I'm going to take all the teachings that I've gotten from different people throughout my life. I'm going to just set them up here. I'm going to keep the good stuff, but as you teach me, I'm able to go back through here and pull out the good stuff and keep that and just let the bones go out with the dross, you know. And that's been my personal experience by doing this, y'all. So, okay, let's read this last section. The day Moses and Aaron made their appearance before Pharaoh happened to be the anniversary of his birth, and he was surrounded by many kings, for he was the ruler of the whole world, and this was the occasion on which the kings of the earth came to do him homage. When the attendants announced Moses and Aaron, Pharaoh inquired whether the two old men had brought him crowns, and receiving a negative reply, he ordered that they not be admitted into his presence until he had seen and dismissed all others desirous of paying him their respects. Pharaoh's palace was surrounded by a vast army. It was built with 400 entrances, 100 on each side, and each of them guarded by 60,000 soldiers. Moses and Aaron were overawed by this display of power, and they were afraid. But the angel Gabriel appeared, and he led them into the palace, observed by none of the guards, and Pharaoh decreed severe punishment upon the inattentive sentinels for having admitted the old men without his permission. They were dismissed, and others were put in their places. But the same thing happened the next day. Moses and Aaron were within the palace, and the new guard had not been able to hinder their passing. Pharaoh questioned his servants how it had been possible for the two old men to enter, and they said, "We know it not. Through the doors they did not come. Surely they must be magicians." Not enough that the palace was guarded by a host Not enough that the palace was guarded by a host. At each entrance, 2 lions were stationed, and in terror of being torn to pieces, none dared to approach the doors. And we can also read about these lions in Jasher too. And if I remember correctly, it's about like the 80th chapter, maybe like 78, 79, 80 is around that point where we read about this right here. And none could go within until the lion tamer came and led the beast away. Now Balaam and all the other sacred scribes of Egypt advised that the keepers loose the lions at the approach of Moses and Aaron. But their advice availed not. Moses had but to raise his rod, and the lions bounded toward him joyously and followed at his feet, gambolling like dogs before their master on his return home. Within the palace, Moses and Aaron found 70 secretaries busy with Pharaoh's correspondence and was carrying on in 70 languages. At the sight of the messengers of Israel, they stared up in great awe, for the 2 men resembled angels in stature as they were as the cedars of Lebanon. Their countenances radiated splendor like the sun, and the pupils of their eyes were like the sphere of the morning star. Their beards like palm branches, and their mouths emitted flames when they opened them for speech. In their terror, the secretaries flung down pen and paper and prostrated themselves before Moses and Aaron. Now the 2 representatives of the children of Israel stepped before Pharaoh, and they spake, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Let us go, we pray, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice unto Yahuwah our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or sword." But Pharaoh answered, saying, "What is the name of your God? And wherein doth his strength consist, and his power? How many countries, how many provinces, how many cities hath he under his dominion? In how many campaigns was he victorious? How many lands did he make subject to himself?" Oh, he's the arrogant something or other, ain't he? "How many cities did he capture? When he goeth to war, how many warriors, riders, chariots, and charioteers doth he lead forth?" Whereto Moses and Aaron replied, "His strength and his power fill the whole world. His voice hewed out flames of fire. His words break mountains in pieces. The heaven is his throne, and the earth is his footstool. His bow is fire. His arrows are flames. His spears torches. His shield clouds, and his sword lightning flashes. He created the mountains and the valleys, which brought forth spirits and souls. He stretched out the earth by a word. He made the mountains with his wisdom. He forms the embryo in the womb of the mother. He covers the heavens with clouds. At his word, the dew and the rain descend earthward. He causes plants to grow from the ground. He nourishes and sustains the whole world, from the horns upon the ram down to the eggs of the vermin. Every day he causes men to die, and every day he calls men into life. I'd have been like, who am I? Okay, what do you say your master needs? I thank you. I appreciate you, because 3 years ago I was so confused and ready to just throw it all out the window. But now I want and need to know the truth of how to serve the Most High. I'm excited. My eyes open. I'm excited to open my eyes daily now. You are doing a wonderful job. Thanks, Trina. Okay. That's the same arrogance. You're right, Aliyah. That's the same arrogance the descendants of Cain here. And they don't mind their mouths when they speak against the Most High. Yeah. Whew. Okay. Pharaoh answered and said, "I have no need of him." Like, how dare you? I have no need of him. I have created myself. Did you now, really? And if ye say that he causes dew and rain to descend, I have the Nile, and the river that hath its source under the tree of life, and the ground impregnated by its waters, bear fruit so huge that it takes 2 asses to carry it. And it is palatable beyond description, for it has 300 different tastes. Then Pharaoh sent to fetch the books of the chronicles of his kingdom from his archives, wherein he recorded the names of the gods of all the nations, to see whether the name of Yahuwah, the God of the Hebrews, was among them. He read off the gods of Moab, the gods of Ammon, the gods of Zidon. I do not find your God inscribed on these archives. Oh boy, he should be smacked right in the mouth. Gabriel should have just reached up like pat, 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 right in his mouth. Like, bruh. Moses and Aaron exclaimed, O thou fool, thou seekest the living in the graves of the dead. These which thou didst read are the names of dumb idols. But our God is the God of life and the King of eternal life. When Pharaoh said the words, I know not the Lord, Yahuwah himself made answer saying, O thou rascal. Like, I can imagine if everybody, they were taken aback like, I am God myself. I know not him. I don't have need of him. Everybody was like, All of heaven was probably like, What does Reggie just say? Like, all heaven took notice of this. I'm going to read this again. Let me just go back up. I'm going to go back up. Listen to this, y'all. Then Pharaoh sent to fetch the books of the chronicles of his kingdom from his archives, wherein he recorded the names of the gods of all the nations, to see whether the name of Yahuwah, the God of the Hebrews, was among them. He read off the gods of Moab, the gods of Ammon, the gods of Zidon. I do not find your God inscribed in these archives. Moses and Aaron exclaimed, O thou fool, thou seekest the living in the graves of the dead. These which thou didst read are the names of dumb idols, but our God is the God of life and the King of eternal life. When Pharaoh said the words, I know not Yahuwah, Yahuwah himself made the answer saying, O thou rascal, thou sayest to my ambassadors, I know not the strength and the power of your God. Lo, I will make thee to stand for to show thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Having searched his list of the gods of the nations in vain for a mention of Yahuwah, the God of the Hebrews, Pharaoh cited before him the wise men of Egypt, and he said to them, Have ye ever heard of the name of the God of these people? They replied, We have been told that he is a son of the wise, the son of ancient kings. Then spake Yahuwah, saying, O ye fools, ye call yourselves wise men, but me ye call only the son of the wise? Verily, I will set at naught all your wisdom and your understanding. Pharaoh persisted in his obduracy, even after Moses and Aaron had performed the miracle of the rod. At the time when the 2 Hebrews succeeded in entering the palace, guarded as it was by lions, Pharaoh had sent for his magicians, at their head Balaam and his 2 sons, Jannes and Jambres. And when they appeared before him, he told them the extraordinary incident, how the lions had followed the 2 old men like dogs and fawned upon them. It was Balaam's opinion that they were simply magicians like himself and his companions, and he prayed that Yahuwah, and he prayed the king to have them come before him together with themselves to test who were the master magicians, the Egyptians or the Hebrews. Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, and he said to them, Who will believe you when you say that you are the ambassador of Yahuwah, as you pretend to be, if you do not convince men by performing wonders? Thereupon Aaron cast his rod to the ground, and it became a serpent. Pharaoh laughed aloud. What? He exclaimed, Is this all you got? Is this all your God can do? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to be animated with it. Is this all your God can do? It is the way of merchants to carry merchandise to a place if there is none of it there. But would anyone take brine to Spain or fish to Acco. It seems that you do not know that I am an adept in all sorts of magic. He ordered the little school children to be brought, and they repeated the wonder done by Moses and Aaron. Indeed, Pharaoh's own wife performed it. Jannes, Jambres, the sons of Balaam, derided Moses, saying, "You carry straw to Ephraim." Whereto Moses answered, "To the place of many vegetables, thither carry vegetables." To show the Egyptians that Aaron could do something with his rod that their magicians could not imitate, Yahuwah caused the serpent in which his rod had been changed to swallow up all the rods of the magicians. But Balaam and his associates said, "There is nothing marvelous or astonishing in this feat. Your servant has but devoured our serpents. Your serpent has but devoured our serpents, which is in accordance with the law of nature. One living being devours another. If thou wishest to acknowledge that the spirit of Yahuwah worketh in thee, then cast thy rod to the earth. And if, being wood, it swallows up our rods of wood, then we shall acknowledge that the spirit of Yahuwah is in thee." Aaron stood the test. After his rod had resumed its original form, it swallowed up the rods of the Egyptians, and yet its bulk showed no increase. This caused Pharaoh to reflect whether this wonderful rod of Aaron might not swallow him up also in his throne. Nevertheless, he refused to obey the behest of Yahuwah to let Israel go, saying, "Had I Jacob, Israel himself here before me." And now he's calling out, he knew their father Jacob. He said both the names, Jacob, who was later changed to Israel. He said, "Had I Jacob, Israel himself here before me, I should put trowel and bucket on his shoulders." And to Moses and Aaron he said, "Because ye, like all the rest of the tribe of Levi, are not compelled to labor, therefore do ye speak. Let us go and sacrifice to Yahuwah. If ye had asked for 1,000 people or 2,000, I should have fulfilled your request. But I would never consent to let 600,000 men go away." And that, do the laugh again? No. I can't do it now. I'm out of character now. I can't do it no more. Okay, y'all. So that's the reading for today, y'all. So that was, we read those two sections, starting on page 229 to 232. All right, y'all. We read Exodus 28, 29, and 30. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading today. It's about to start getting real exciting at some of this stuff that's they're going to be doing, and we're going to find out also some of the things that was happening to our people and what they was thinking while all this stuff was going on. So I'm super excited about that. I remember to post the stuff that I was telling y'all at the beginning of the video about the Book of Remembrance down here shortly after I stopped the video. So, all right, y'all. It is Saturday, January the 16th, 2021, day 52 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. And of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 721 days have we been reading through the books of the law and the prophets over and over and over again till we get it setting down deep in our sha-na-na, that the Most High can lead us and guide us with all truth. It's just going to sit there and begin to burn bright and like a fire, you know. So like I tell my children, I say, Iron Man, his little light thing right there. I say, imagine that being a fire of the Most High burning deep within our hearts. And not only does it burn there, but it begins to radiate out. So imagine your entire being on fire with the glory of the Most Holy radiating through your veins. It's fun. I love that I have little kids that I can do these examples with. Plus, we watch all the superhero movies and bang bang shoot 'em up stuff anyway, so it's easy for them to imagine. It's easy for me to relate this stuff to my children so that they understand. So, all right, y'all. With that being said, let's go ahead here and do the blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6, verses 22 through 27. Remember the first 21 verses of the Nazarite vow. The first 21 verses of Numbers chapter 6 is the Nazarite vow. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people, I'm just double check through here again. I enjoyed the lesson today, sister. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings goes abundantly to your house. So thank you. I enjoyed doing this. Okay. All right, check on Facebook. Oh, Trina said, too funny to laugh. Make sure you watch this so you can see. I feel like I'm standing there watching it when it was happening. If you read it to the children like this, I know they love it. Yeah, girl, it's funny. You sit, imagine kids sitting there, because I gotta get like all extra animated and stuff so they can remember. But if I just like read, it sounds like blah, 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 blah. So I gotta kind of get into character sometime. And I can't sit there and read as much as I read. See, I just gotta take it in spurts, so I keep that. They got short attention spans, but it got to be like exciting, like a superhero movie. And it's good now that I got the missing pieces from the Legends of the Jews, because it's some real superhero stuff here. Like we talked about before, they have taken, and if you read through this, when you begin to read through this, through like Solomon, some of this other stuff, when King David, when he gets to the Book of Kings, and Solomon, Samuel, and all that stuff, you will see that Marvel and all these other movie companies and stuff like that they have, none of that stuff is original to them. They may just added some little things, made it a little modern with modern technology and gadgets and stuff, but a lot of that comes right from here. And I be listening, I be side-eyeing preachers, and some of them not even preachers, are rabbis and stuff, and some of these people that be giving something, I was like, this sounds like you read Legends of the Jews. Maybe Yahuwah did give that dream to you, but I'm almost certain you lying, bruh. I'm almost certain you are lying, so, but we don't know if we don't read it. So they can take this history and they can flaunt it in front of our faces and get all kind of money from us. Oh yes, that was a good movie, let's go see that again. Download that, watch it on my phone, not realizing they've taken your history, change the color of the people, add some other things that can throw you off a little bit. They done already separated it. You only looking at the 66 books and stuff, but they taking all this stuff that they hidden and put scary names on, like Apocrypha and the occult. Remember the definition of occult. Okay, don't drag me. I'm not saying the occult, like the people who are really devil worshiping and stuff. I ain't talking about them, but the word itself, occult, means hidden. So they also take that word and they put it on some of the writings and some of the scriptures. Like, oh, that's occultic reading. Or when you go looking for it, you won't find it with the regular stuff. They taking it and they put it in the occultic section. And I'm like, wait, this shouldn't be here. Why is this labeled occult? I understand it's hidden, but I mean, I get it, but a lot of people, especially if you just walking out the church doors, you ain't gonna get that. Okay. You can see it now. Wait till we start getting to the end of some of this stuff. You will see, oh my gosh, I can just rattle off a lot of these movies. I'm like, wait a minute. They got the Legends of the Jews. They done read it. Somebody, the producer, somebody done read the Legends of the Jews, and ain't no way you can really go back and be like, you using our stuff, ain't getting us credit, they've been doing it for so long. It's like, you know what, the Most High allowed it, whatever. But now that we see it, what happens now, let me tell you what I do now when I watch it. If I watch it now, I know, especially if I'm already familiar with something that I know they pulled from one of the historical books of our people, I'll pay attention to it and look at little things, and I just, all right, Father, have I missed something? But a couple things that I have, even in some of the Netflix series and stuff that they have in there, I ain't gonna start talking about them because that may throw some of y'all off, but I'm able to look and see. I'm like, wait a minute, is that real? Let me go start checking into this. And even some of this, it's crazy. Like, if y'all may know this, some of y'all may not. Have y'all, the heathen knows us more than we know ourselves. Have you guys ever watched, like, let me see, shows that have, like, I don't know, you see like magic shows, like they have like different series and stuff, but I'm not sure if you ever watch it with like the subtitles on, right? If you ever caught a glimpse of it, if you ever watch a movie where somebody's doing like an incantation or there's like a devil worshiping scene or something like that, right? Have you ever noticed, or I'm not sure if you ever paid attention to it, or even if you ever watch it, but do you realize every time they do that, they're speaking in Hebrew? And a lot of time, if you're not familiar with the Hebrew tongue, or the ancient Hebrew tongue, you won't pick it up. And a lot of times, it's like, because I used to, they doing devil worship, fast forward a little bit, but we'll also fast forward the subtitles. But sometimes when I watch stuff, I'll look, but what I began to notice is that when they do those incantations, even devil worshipers and stuff, what you will see is they'll be speaking Hebrew. And I'm like, what are they doing? Or some of them I seen it says the language of Adam. And I'm like, wait a minute. So it's a lot of stuff. And they put it in movies like little clues that are trying to like get your attention. Not saying that you need to go do any of this stuff. I'm just simply bringing out a point of how they had the truth in plain sight. And a lot of us, if we're not familiar with the text, so if we don't even read the Old Testament, none of this stuff will make sense to us. Like, it will just be like, we'll be like rocking like a boat, to and fro, like no foundation. It's like anybody can say anything. You're all overly religious. You're ready to fight people for stuff you learned in church and stuff. And it's like, sis, calm down. Wait a minute. Hold on. First of all, you ready to fight over a lie, right? Like you're ready to give your life for a lie. And I'm trying to tell you some truth here. So it's things like that. So they've taken all kinds of our history, and it's like they flaunted in plain sight everything. Yes, Bantu is sacred for them to pronounce. Yeah, and it's crazy, y'all. Yeah, mostly Yiddish. Some of it now. A lot of what they're speaking is like Yiddish. It's really like a bastard language. It's like they're combining different languages. But there is, I'm not sure if you guys ever heard like the authentic tongue, when you hear that, I don't know, I heard somebody speak it, and it I don't know what, I still can't tell you what they said, but I noticed it did something to me. Like that, I was watching, they weren't like talking to me personally. I was searching through videos, and when I heard it, it like jolted me, like I felt something reverberate. I was like, what is he speaking? And I think I saved that video, but I don't know what he said, but that tongue, I was like, what is that? I said, what is that tongue? But yeah, Swahili is the closest to the sacred language. Yeah, almost, yeah. So, but okay, guys, I'm rambling now. I'm gonna put the stuff in here, the stuff I told y'all in the comment section. It's gonna take me a few minutes, but I'm gonna get it done right now because there's a couple things I have to do. So, all right, y'all, that's it. We done. No more questions. All right, love y'all. See y'all bright and early in the morning, 7:30. Remember, Saturdays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on the weekdays, it is 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if it's a Sabbath, we are not here. We rest. All right, beautiful people. Love you. See you in the morning. Peace.